everyone, and welcome back to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 188, and you're back with the OGs. Myself and Amy have returned for this week's podcast. Can't remember the last one we did, but it was just us two, to be honest with you.
It must be at least a month ago. At
Yeah,
least.
we've always got someone on with us, haven't we? Or
Yeah.
someone for the other person. But yeah, we're back. We're together again. We're here to discuss Liverpool's unfortunate defeat against Leicester on Sunday. Let's chat a little bit about what fixtures we have coming up post international break. Obviously, it wasn't the best result for us on Sunday. The game itself, I don't know if you agree, I felt was very frustrating at times, just simply because we could not felt like we could not string a pass together for a large period of time, or we couldn't complete five passes. It was very like bitty, I want to say,
Mm.
especially in that first half. And then obviously the goal that we conceded was a nicely worked corner kick for them, but just bad marking from us, really, wasn't it? But I think, yeah, would you agree that it was quite a frustrating period of the games to watch?
It was, and I feel like we could have played like all day long, and I don't think we would have scored.
Yeah,
It just felt like that Sunday was just not a day for us to score really. Yeah, it's frustrating, like we come off the back of that Reading win, full of confidence, full of sort of motivation, and we're all like, yeah, we only these three more points, and that could really save us from scrapping around the bottom end of the table the last couple of months of the season. And like there's this really joyous feeling that oh we're actually we're we're all right, we're a team. And as opposed ruling out the Man United game, we've played really quite well against teams that we've come up against. And it's not that we played badly against Leicester. It
yeah,
just didn't feel like we had that oomph about us in the final third. Like I know Lawsy had to be in action more than possibly usual, and it just felt like there was a bit of a disconnect between the midfield and the attack. I think they kept Katie Stengel very quiet. They kept Fuka very quiet.
yeah.
Um, and arguably they're two of our well, one of our most creative and two of our prolific goal scorers. So yeah, the energy felt really quite low. And I think once Dowie and Lundgaard came on, our first two main like substitutions, I felt, and Daniels as well, I felt like the energy like lifted up again, and we were getting in their box. There was that massive kerfuffle, and I don't know how it still didn't go into this day.
Yeah.
I felt like the energy like picked up again, but as I said, we could have been there all day long, and I don't think we'd have got it in. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels like we should not really be losing to a team at the bottom of the table, and that's no disrespect to Leicester. It could be anyone, but I feel like they were arguably better than us on the day, and I don't really feel like that's good enough, because we're not at the bottom of the table, nor do we deserve to be, nor like we have the players that can allow us to be
Yeah.
good in this league. And it just feels like it was a bit of a step backwards on Sunday, and a little bit demoralizing. But like international break now, injuries, hope people players that have been injured hopefully coming back, and we get a fuller squad. But yeah, I just think overall quite disappointing, and it would have been nice to at least gotten a point out of that game, I think, looking back now. But obviously it's done and it's happened. But yeah, quite disappointed about it.
Yeah, because you were kind of going into that match with like, if you get your 3 points here today, you kind of, you set yourself up for, you're in a good position really. And then, we immediately said, as soon as the final whistle went, it was like, oh, that's not good. Like, that's just not a good result for us. Yeah, like I agree that like obviously you don't like to say teams are bad, but you should be beating Leicester. Like that's just how it is. Um. So yeah, it's kind of yeah. It's just I think frustrating is the best kind of way to describe it because you're now looking ahead to your fixtures after the international break, and you've got Arsenal away, you've got Spurs at home, I think it is, and then you've
Yeah.
got the Spurs at home, and then you've got the derby at Goodison. So those next three games are tough. Arsenal's always tough. Spurs is always a tough game, but they haven't. I didn't realize how many games they'd actually lost this season until I looked at the table. They've lost 9 games
Yeah.
this season,
And they're
which
there
I
below us. I think
yeah
they're in ninth and we're in eighth.
yeah um I think, yeah I can't remember point wise, but they've lost 9 games, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. So that game, I feel like it's going to be very hit and miss.
Yeah.
And the derby at Goodison is you don't just have the football, you have the occasion as
Yeah.
well,
It's gonna be
which makes
difficult.
it more difficult. Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like going into a busy period for us because you've then got West Ham, Brighton, and Leicester, and then well, you can literally look at the last remaining fixtures: Leicester, then City, then Villa, then United on the last day of the season.
Brilliant.
So into that period now where you know where your season's finishing, and it'll come thick and fast.
Yeah.
And it's important you get as many points on the board as you possibly can in those games against the likes of Leicester and possibly a West Ham and maybe even a Spurs. You pick up those little 1 points, 3 points because you need to get as many points on the board. I'm quietly confident that we will stay up, but it's kind of you don't want to put yourself in a scrap till the end
No.
because that's when it gets tough. And especially like you mentioned with some of the injuries we've got, like we asked appeared post match on Sunday, Leanne Cannon's looking back end of the season, like last couple of games, even
If
if
that.
that,
Yeah.
yeah. Katie Stengel for me is definitely still carrying some kind of knock from when she was out the other week. She didn't look as sharp. Whether that was just really good defending from Leicester at the weekend, you don't know. But hopefully this week off will do her good. And then you've got who else is supposed to be on? It's gone blank.
Denise.
Yeah, Shanice. Did he say like 2 weeks for her?
Yeah, maybe like sometime shortly after the international break, I think.
Yeah, so let's say 2 weeks for her. So hopefully she'll be back for Arsenal. If not, definitely Spurs. Um, Carla Humphrey was out with concussion, so I'm sure she'll be fine if she features. So yeah,
And
it's kind of like
Koivisto as well.
yeah.
Interestingly, Koivisto, he said, did he felt something in her hamstring? And he said a couple of weeks, but someone commented, excuse me, on one of our tweet on that injury tweet that we put out saying she's with the Finnish team.
Oh, okay, so she's gone away before
So
the international break.
whether that is true, I'm not sure, but that's a bit of a question mark. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So hopefully we should have a full squad come the end of the season, but you're not taking into account touch wars, any other little niggles that people pick up. And
I
I don't
also
know.
don't think Gemma Bonner's 100% fit.
No.
She had quite a lot of strapping on her leg for the Reading game.
She was down for a while, a couple of times on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's you know what, it's a massive step up from the championship, not just in terms of what's at stake, but the intensity, the amount of matches, like it is a massive step up. And I think that will be having an effect on some of the players, especially those that haven't played in the WSL before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really easy to say like, oh, we've had injuries. Like everyone has injuries, like that's obvious. But if you think about it, we've not been able to see the full capabilities of Shanice van der Sanden because she got injured at the start of the season. Played one game in pre-season, I think it was, and that was it, maybe two. Injured for God knows how many months. Come back, got injured in the warm-up against Chelsea, then continued to play for 6 minutes. Then now is obviously out with another injury, it's like, oh my goodness me, can this woman get a break? So I definitely feel like we've not seen Shanice pretty much at all. We've definitely not seen her
Yeah,
at
like
her,
I can't name 5 games I've watched her in because I don't
no,
know.
no, like, and she's like, we've not seen it do anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. We haven't
she's
seen her
hardly
at her
done.
full potential for us this
No,
season.
no, not at all. And this is not me making excuses. Do not get me wrong. We have not been at our best this season,
Wow.
if we're being honest. We've not been bad. Like we've not been terrible. We've just not been at our full capability. I'm a very firm believer in that. But yeah, Shanice, we've hardly seen anything of Leanne King, and obviously we lose her in the first game of the season. She gets an operation. She then comes back into some sort of work, gym work, I think it was. Never really saw her back out on the grass. And
Yeah.
she picks up another
Yeah,
setback.
and then she posts a
So,
picture in Sefton Park and she's got a
uh,
boot on and you're like,
yeah,
what's going on?
it's relentless. Like two key attacking players this season that we have absolutely seen nothing of. And I think because we have been sort of made to play a certain way with Katie Stengel up top, and it's every single week. Yep, it's probably going to be Katie Stengel, and people are catching on to that. It's like they can completely shut off our attack by blocking off Katie Stengel, putting a player on her at all times, putting 2 players on her at all times. Like it's been found out that way, and because we've not really had that any other outlets up until now, you could arguably say Kerry Holland and Bow, because Fuka's come in and have been able to push up a bit more. But especially before the January transfer, we were scratching our heads thinking, goodness me, like what else are we going to do apart from
Yeah.
play through Katie Stengel? Like there was no other option.
Yeah.
So as I said, it's not me making excuses, but when you actually look and see the difficulties that we've had this season, it's been tough. And obviously now Tasha Dowie's come in, and hopefully we start to see some of these players get back fit. I don't think we're going to see Shanice at her best until next season now, if she picks up. I don't think we will. We might see flashes here and there, and if she gets a good run in the side and not pick up any more injuries towards the end of the season, like that back end of fixtures, like sound, we might see glimpses. But I definitely think we won't see her full potential this season, which is really sad. Like obviously it's great to have her back, and her first induction season back into the Reds hasn't exactly been what she's wanted, and like the ideal like situation. But yeah, God, it's just tough, isn't it? Like this league is so tough. It's so tough, and I think possibly the Man United game made us see how far away we actually are from being super competitive in this league, and I think ultimately in the future we want to be like in the Champions League spots. We want to be pushing the top of the table. But I think it's been a really rude awakening as to this is going to be a couple of seasons in the making. This is not going to be a 1 season thing. And I think we've got to buckle in for the long run here, haven't we, really? And see the progression over the next few seasons.
I think it's kind of one of them things that you think about. Like, we obviously have one of the biggest budgets. I'm not sure in terms of like transfer wise, but definitely wage wise
Yeah.
in the championship. You've now come into the WSL and you've probably got not like one of the smallest, but you're definitely not competing at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So you do look at our January business and you do look at, and like this is not me being like weird about it, but you do look at you've had to bring in Tash Dowie, who's, 34, around that age. Gemma Bonnet is, it's kind of literally like he's got the band back together to try and
salvage
get us out of this like scrappy period, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. And I've got no doubt that those players, well, we've seen Bonner like what the performances are. I've got no doubt that Dowie gives 100% on the pitch, like when she came on Sunday. he was immediately like screaming and shouting at me, and you looked at each other and was like, "Wow, she's loud! Like
Mm,
she can like command a pitch."
yeah.
But ultimately, you've got to also look ahead in the long run. It's like, what players can you start integrating into the team now that is going to get us into a position in 3, 4, 5 seasons time to be at the top of the table? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think we're very much focusing on the now at like in the club in general, not just on the pitch, like everywhere.
well, we
But
have to try and not get relegated, essentially.
yeah,
Mm.
100%. But then it's kind of like you do have to prepare for the future
Yeah.
because depending on what happens over the next 2 seasons, you don't know what players are going to stick around. Like Rachel Furness going was something I never thought would happen for the way it did.
Yeah,
That's a
especially halfway through a season.
yeah, and that's such a crucial player, just not even on the pitch, off the pitch as well.
Yeah.
So you can see that the club are willing to obviously making changes
Yeah.
to suit whatever their needs are, but it's like I don't want us to get stuck
Hmm.
in just being a team that scraps at the bottom all the time because
Yeah.
we've done that for too long now, and it's like
We don't need to
okay,
keep doing that now.
yeah, this season's like one of them where it's like you can't just find your feet again, but I'm interested to see what happens in the summer
Yeah.
going forward as to how we're going to change to kind of change the team and the momentum because you can't just go around the same cycle all the time.
No.
Um, but who knows?
Like look what Everton did a few years ago on the brink of relegation.
Uh,
And now they're flying. They've got so much what looks like a really, really good backing from the club. Like they've
yeah,
brought players from all over the globe. They're competing, they're winning. Um, and they've really pulled themselves out of what was a really, really tough time for them. Um, but and look, we're not at the it's really hard to explain, but we're not at the bottom of the table. Like,
no, we sound like we're like
yeah.
terrible. We're not.
I just think we're both quite disappointed after that result. And it felt like we could have won that game.
And I
And
think
we
when you
should
care
have.
about something so much, you only ever want to see it do well. And
Yeah,
when there's constantly just like, I feel like there's constant barriers that just go up in front of this team.
yeah,
And it's just one thing after another all the time. And I'm like over it now. Like
yeah,
I just want us to do well so bad that I want us to do anything it takes. And you can see that like they probably feel the same as well, but
yeah.
don't know.
We'll be fine. I think just need to get through this season and then reevaluate after that.
Yeah, definitely. But one
Yeah.
thing that we do have to look forward to is the derby being played at Goodison.
Yes, I'm
That was due
excited.
to happen last year, was it? And then
No, we were still in
not last season, the
university.
season before, sorry.
We were still in university, do you not remember? And the storm happened and we couldn't go because
Yeah.
of the wind. That was 2019,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
long time ago.
Where were those like 3 years just in my head gone then?
I have no idea, but yeah, it was 2019, I'm pretty sure. Back
Yeah,
in
and
twenty
there
nineteen.
was a really bad storm, wasn't there?
And like it was a
I
yeah,
remember
the
Emma
wind.
texting us being like, I don't know whether to get on my train or not because I don't
Pretty
know if
sure
I'm
she
gonna make it.
she
And I
got on
think
it
she got on the train
and then got
and
off.
then they put out the press release to say it was cancelled due to weather warnings.
Yeah, that was 2019, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, yeah, it probably was around that time.
Yeah, because if there was one, we probably would have been, and we haven't been. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I don't
something
know
to
why I
reflect.
thought it was last season, but I've just realised we didn't play them.
We
So
were in the championship last season, so
yeah. But that's one thing to look forward to. Obviously, a women's derby at Goodison. We've had the Anfield one. We don't like to talk about it.
No.
Because that result was not fun. So hopefully this time it's roles reversed and we can beat them in there.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Get down
So
to go to Goodison. I've never been. Never been.
I've been once.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't feel like I need to go, but it'll be
no,
nice.
not that good. Not great.
Big crowd. Be fun. Why
Yeah.
not, eh? Big day out.
Yeah, it's a day out, isn't it? It's fun.
Day out.
Then those things are always fun. It's a 12:30 kickoff as well, whereas the one at Anfield was like 6:45 or something on a Sunday.
We were waiting for a
And the
bloody
kickoff time
Uber
was that.
outside. Yeah. But like pitch black.
So stupid. But this one's a 12:30 one, so you can kind of really make a day of it as well, which is fun.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, as
No
soon as
doubt.
all like ticket details and stuff for that are announced,
Yeah.
we'll whack them out on socials and whatnot.
Oh, yeah,
But
be
yeah,
good.
it'll be a fun game. It'll be an interesting match. Be
Mm.
exciting to watch. Like I said, hopefully we get the result this time, but we'll see.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but I think that's everything for this week, isn't it? I don't think
It
there's
is.
much to really go over. Obviously, with it being international break now, there'll be no content this weekend. So I feel like you get in a groove of
Let's
like
go.
going the games, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's an international break, and it's like, thanks, cheers
Boring,
for that.
innit? Boring time.
Yeah. But next up we do have Arsenal away, so yeah, let us know if you're gonna head down to that as well, because that'll be a fun match to
Yeah.
watch as well. I feel like we always give like 110% against Arsenal, and then they just end up winning anyway. But like I feel like we always play well against them.
Yeah, and then they just have that extra bit of spark and get
Yeah,
the win
just like
over. Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to see us perform against those teams. After like obviously everything we've just said there in that big
Yeah.
discussion, but it's nice to see us perform well against those teams, even if we don't get the results. Like you don't feel as bad about it if
Yeah.
you have like a performance that's 110%. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully some players will get some rest, some players will get some minutes for the countries this week. But
Should be
yeah,
good.
we'll see. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all next time with a new podcast.
Bye.
Bye.